we are talking about the significant exception. 93% of blacks are killed by other blacks.
Let me respond to that.
I would like to see the attention. I'd like to see the attention paid to that you are paying to this, and the solutions to that.
He's taking up time.
All right, folks, Rudy Giuliani and Eric Dyson talking about, something that goes ignored for the most part. And joining us now is Minister Ben Kinchlow. He's a columnist at WorldNet Daily, founder of Americans for Israel, and former co-host of the 700 Club. Ben, good to see you again, sir.
Hey, thank you very much. Pleasure to be with you. Thanks for having me back.
It's always my pleasure. I mean, with Ferguson in the news today, and I said to someone in the newsroom just a few minutes ago that, if you had gone to sleep 25 years ago and woke up and said, boy, what's all this fuss in Ferguson? Well, a guy struggled with a cop over his gun. The gun went off. He ran, and guy wound up getting shot. You'd say, okay, terrible, but all this, like this is the end of the world. But let's talk about something that for the most part goes ignored, and you've written about it, and that's, what Rudy Giuliani alluded to. All the black youngsters that are killed every day all over America by other blacks.
Unfortunately, that is a tragic truth, and unfortunately, the media does not give us accurate access to the facts of what's going on in our country. The reason the Founding Fathers assured in the First Amendment that we would have a free, unbiased press was so that the American people could be fully aware of what was going on. The job of the media is to tell us what the facts are so we can make legitimate, honest, decisions based on what the truth of the matter is. Unfortunately, that is not the case. That's not being presented, and that certainly isn't the case of what's happening in Ferguson.
Right. Okay. So why is it why is it that the African American community, and it's seemingly, I mean, there are people like you certainly who speak out, but the ones that get the media attention the most, the Al Sharptons, the Jesse Jacksons, and the and others, even elected officials. I mean, you hear certain elected officials from the Black Congressional Black Caucus and others, talking about Ferguson, talking about how it's another Emmett Till, et cetera, which I think is an outrage. But they don't talk about what you and I are talking about now.
Well, for obvious reasons. If you talk about this, the media will not cover it. They will just skip over you completely. The only way that you can really get media coverage is to talk about something that can generate some kind of racial hostility, because that's what the liberals thrive on. And unfortunately, we have fallen prey to that. And unless we start to do what needs to be done, we're going to find ourselves getting in more and more trouble. Let me just tell you something, man. When we talk about what's going on race-wise, 95% of the people who are born after 1975 have no idea what real racism is. They aren't familiar with it. They have not experienced it. So what they are laying the charge of racism around is simply nowhere near what real racism and discrimination is all about. And for those of us who lived during those periods, we know that there is a whole lot of difference between what is called, quote, racism today and what was real racism back in the day.
But I've heard Jesse Jackson and other so-called black leaders, I've heard elected officials who are black say that Trayvon Martin and Michael and the shooting in Ferguson, Michael Brown, are Emmett Till. Emmett Till, who was taken from his bed by white racists and killed in a horrific way and dumped in a river. I mean, my God, I'm white, and that offends the heck out of me.
Exactly, and that's what we see. But unfortunately, that is not the way the media reports it today. Nowadays, people want to make sure that Jesse Jacksons and the Al Sharptons, et cetera, the only way they can get on the news is to talk about racism. If Jesse Jackson just goes back to where it was when he started, I mean, he's flying around the country on private jets. He flies first class. He stays in quality hotels. When he first got out with Martin Luther King on the civil rights movement, there was no way he could stay in the hotels he's staying in now, fly first class and that sort of thing, because blacks were not given the rights of ordinary citizens.
Right. And I also cringe when I hear that so-and-so is the new Jackie Robinson. They don't know what Jackie Robinson went through either. Minister
Absolutely.
Ben Kinchlow, always great to talk to you, sir. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
We'll have you back. It's Minister Ben Kinchlow, ladies and gentlemen. And when we come back, we are going to check out the markets, because life does go on. notwithstanding the fact that Ferguson has reached their verdict. We'll be back with Newsmax Deputy Financial Editor Rob Williams coming up right here on Newsmax Television.